And so this is like actually a mini food forest here that's in development, which is also my nursery repository. I don't have to clear cut these. This year, I could probably get from this Yasta berry, this thing's really happy here. I could probably get 50 cuttings off of it, and it's not really gonna miss much of a beat. I've got plenty of other Yasta berries I can get berries off of this year. This chestnut, you know, it's probably, at least if it doesn't make any flowers and bear nuts this year, there's other chestnuts around to pollinate it, like this one over here. So these ones are about, if they don't flower and fruit this year. Hey, this is Ben with Wild Sprout Nursery. I wanted to give a early spring nursery tour. We are shifting things around this year. We're really trying to scale up the production. Goal this year is to grow out at least a couple to like 2,000 to 3,000 plants. And so what I'm trying to do this year is do these air prune boxes where in the fall I can just dump these out and I can root through them and I'll know exactly how many plants I have to offer. In only these 4 boxes, I probably have about 500 sea kale plants. So when you think of a plant nursery, oftentimes you think of a bunch of plants in rows in the ground, but that's what I have been doing in years past. But this year, I'm really just utilizing the mother plants to do cuttings and in these above ground air prune boxes. And so let me show you some of the ones that I'll be offering this year. So in this bed, I'm still working on getting cuttings in the ground, but in just this small area here, I have probably about 50 purple tree colored cuttings, about 50 perennial kale, another variety, Tautandine, and this is like some Turkish rocket, and this is actually a giant sea kale, Crambe cordifolia. I'm hoping to be able to offer this in the future. I think I need a couple more years to build up stock. It's similar to sea kale in that it's the same genus, but you don't really eat it so much for you can eat the younger leaves, but it has these really gigantic flower inflorescence, and so it's really cool. So this is a pretty crazy place right here. In years past, I've done kind of rows of things, and there's been like mixes of and so what it's become now is a mix of kind of rows of certain things, and it was rows of certain things, and then also some more established mother plants of certain things I wanted to offer. In particular, the black lace elderberry, highly ornamental. It's a black elderberry, European elderberry. Very ornamental, lace-like foliage, and the flowers are kind of pinkish white. Also makes edible berries that are medicinal. And one that I'm super stoked about being able to offer this fall is variegated elderberry. Now, I'll go ahead and throw it up here. If it's a black or a red species, I'm pretty sure this is a black elderberry. To be honest, I got this a couple years ago and I don't really remember, but it looks really cool and it's highly unique. And so this is kind of what my nursery has become, a smattering of things like this. We can check out my other area. There's variegated comfrey. This is variegated. This is a Symphytum uplandicum variegatum, variegated Russian comfrey, essentially. I also have some mother plants getting established here of purple tree collards, the Tautandine, or Tautandine. There's sea kale, which can be a repository for root cuttings, also for seeds. There you can see it's starting to go to flower. Actually, that's the sweet cicely right behind it. The buds are starting to swell. Sea kale, really awesome plant. There's also Turkish rocket. There's a whole bunch of things going on in here. It's kind of crazy. that's why I'm kind of trying to dial things in this year. But this is the reality of what it can turn into when you're doing this kind of nursery work. Like, you get jazzed up about a bunch of plants, you run out of room, so you just put things in the ground, then you end up with stuff like this. But it kind of works out. One of the challenges is that it's hard to kind of direct people to help you with things, because really what it turns into is like only you really understand what's happening in a space. So that's an added challenge. Let's go check out one of my other nursery areas here. So we don't need to really we don't need to go into the garden space, quote unquote garden space. It's overrun right now. I need to go. Spring has sprung officially here, and we just got back off of a 5-day trip. So this marks the time where I need to start weed whacking every day, and then yeah, and that's a never-ending process almost all the way through summer. But anyway, it's a series of there's quite a few like 8 by or 10 by 4 raised beds here, but on the edges and in the middle of beds, and like I have lots of other perennial edibles like interspersed in here. For example, these elderberries went absolutely apeshit this last year. Like, this is a Scotia elderberry. It's an American elderberry. What is that? Like 15 feet of growth last year. This is a really great variety of elderberry. And this isn't even my main one. Like, this isn't even my main area for getting plant material for doing cuttings. I grow all this stuff out for getting cuttings. All these little pieces here, these little branches, like I can stick each of these in the ground, and every node that touches soil will root out and make a new plant. So I'm planning on growing out a lot of elderberry from cuttings this year in the summer using an intermittent misting system, so that in the fall, whenever they go dormant, I will have lots of really nice elderberry plant starts I can offer for a really economical price. That's kind of the difference I'm thinking between growing out plants from, like, especially elderberry, from cuttings in the winter to grow all summer, because then you end up with really big plants, and they're tap rooters. They make deep roots, and so it's a struggle to dig them out of really nice deep loamy soil, like loose soil, because the roots will just dive down and you end up breaking roots even with a deep nursery spade. And so my solution for that problem is air prune box. Again, coming back to air prune boxes, I'm really trying to lean hard into air prune boxes this year, and so then I get nice bushy root structures instead of lanky, long, deep tap roots, which is better for people to transplant with and for shipping. Let's go take a look at one of my other more like dedicated nursery areas. This is this is one of the other more dedicated like nursery growing areas that I have, and you kind of notice some similarities as far as how haphazard it is compared to the other one I have. Some of the differences is, like, I kind of focus this one more on like currants, and there's like more like kind of trees. Like there's figs, there's pears all along the edges. And also something to note is like all my nursery areas are on the edges are planted with nut trees. So eventually, well, we won't be here by the time those nut trees are the overstory trees, but someone will have to manage those. But it's just some added diversity in here. But in the years past, there was like a lot of sweet cicely in here. I grew out a lot of sweet cicely. We have perennial kale in here. A few different varieties of currants, black currants, white currants, red currants. Also, there on the edges here also are some other varieties of elderberry from which I can get plant material from. Yeah, so just like all the other nursery areas, there has been a changing cast of characters in all these spaces. like Nanking cherry, and it's all been. It's kind of funny. It's like, to me, it's kind of like the story of my obsessions. I can read from the nursery areas, because it's like I have like these like 5 or 6 Nanking cherries. I was like really about trying to propagate Nanking cherry, and like propagating things I've never even tried before. Like I've never even eaten a Nanking cherry, but I like really want to try one. So god damn it, I'm gonna grow a bunch of them, and also yeah, other types of gooseberries. You know, there's once a bunch of horseradish in here, and also I interplant sea kale in here, and there's this line of straw, and this is a mushroom bed actually, King Stropharia annulata, rugosa annulata, Stropharia rugosa, and I planted that out last year. We'll probably get some. We'll get some flushes this year, I'm sure. And yeah, so again, I'm not really going to be doing anything in rows this year. It's all going to be in these raised air prune boxes. I'll show you this one over here. Again, I'll be. You can check out the video on the intermittent misting system. But this is my biggest air prune box here. This is a like a 10 by 5 or 10 by 4 box filled with about 6 inches of sand, coarse sand, and it's elevated up off the ground about 6 inches for air pruning. And I have some rods in place for a larger intermittent misting system, just a larger version of the same thing in the greenhouse. In here, I'm hoping to be able to fit at least a couple thousand cuttings, maybe even more. I actually think I could probably fit at least 5,000 cuttings in here. Now, do I have the plant material to do that? I don't know, but I'm going hard this year, and so we'll see, and I'll keep you updated on that. Let's check out something together here. Actually, I want to check on. That's a Tuna sinensis, Chinese tune. It's an edible. It's a tree. It makes edible leaves. Beef and onion tree. Just watch this doesn't stab you. Or hurt. So this is really exciting. If you look down here with me, these are all terminal branch cuttings from Tuna sinensis that I stuck in about 2.5-3 months ago when I was pruning off our largest Tuna sinensis tree. That thing was like 20 plus feet high. And I've done cuttings in the past, but they have failed. But it seems like the terminal branch cuttings all are leafing out, and I'm pulling up on this. I'm not going to rip it out of the ground, but I would bet you, I bet you $1 that it's got at least a few roots on it. And this was more of an experiment. I've got 1, 2. I kind of lined this whole edge here with these cuttings. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got about a dozen cuttings all spaced out here. I'm just gonna let them grow out. This can be Tuna sinensis. It'll become a tall tree if you let it, but it's also got sparse vegetation. It allows a lot of light in, and so what's going to be underneath it? Well, yostaberry. Okay, it can thrive in part shade, but right now it's in full sun. It's going to be at least 4 years before the Tuna sinensis is anywhere close to casting any shade on it. Also, elderberries. Chestnuts. And so this is like actually a mini food forest here that's in development, which is also my nursery repository. I don't have to clear cut these. This year I could probably get from this yostaberry, this thing's really happy here, I could probably get 50 cuttings off of it, and it's not really going to miss much of a beat. I've got plenty of other yostaberries I can get berries off of this year. This chestnut, you know, it's it's probably at least, if it doesn't make any flowers and bear nuts this year, there's other chestnuts around to pollinate it, like this one over here. So these ones are about, if they don't flower and fruit this anywhere, they're 1 to 3 years out from bearing age right now. So the overall message here, or concept I'm trying to convey, is that this may perhaps not be the best, most easiest to manage option if you're running a nursery for your like complete financial livelihood. Or maybe it can be, like, it depends on, maybe your niche is Yasta berries and you just grow a bunch of Yasta berries underneath while you're establishing a chestnut orchard or something like that. These are also plums here, so this whole place is going to be kind of crazy. Like, I wish I could fast forward 10 years from now and see what's happening here. There's going to be the plums are going to fruit along with the Yasta berry. Eventually the chestnuts will grow up. There'll be an overstory tree, shade out most of this stuff. The Yasta berry will still produce a little bit, but then things just change. But for me, it's a lot more of an exciting hobby than just having a row. Like, instead of having a row of Yasta berry plants that I'm gonna dig up here, it's like, this to me is much more exciting, and I'll be growing everything from cuttings. That way I'm just managing mother trees, having manageable plants instead of and then I can use up my real estate for growing more mother plants, different varieties of currants, more purple tree collards, instead of using the real estate for just individual plants that I'm going to sell out to people.